Hi guys, welcome back to the Chocolate Secrets YouTube channel. My name is Renee and today we're going to be making mulled wine. So this recipe is going to be for 1 bottle of either red wine or white wine. So today we've got the Brady Merlot. It's a 2018 from California and it has just some really deep savory flavors to it. We've also got our Rayburn Chardonnay. It's a 2019 from California, and it's gonna have really buttery green apple pear type flavors to it. Normally, these recipes start off with either 2 small oranges or 1 large orange, but today we're gonna be using 3 different types of citrusy fruits. So we'll use half of this grapefruit, and we're gonna use the zest and the juice from it. We'll use 1 full orange, the zest and the juice from that. And then we're gonna have 2 small tangerines and use the zest and juice from this as well. It's just gonna create a more complex flavor profile for you and make it more fancy. After that, we're gonna add a little bit more alcohol. Normally people use brandy, which is gonna still taste really, really good. We're going to use the Grand Marnier Cuvée from 1880. This thing is 150 years old, and I like it because it has hints of orange, which is just going to tie all of these flavors together. So as for the spices, it's really important that you use whole spices, because if you use the ground spices, your guests and you are going to be drinking grains, unless you have a chinois, which is normally only in professional kitchens. If not, you can use whole spices. I personally have tried both and I really like whole spices better anyways. So after the oranges, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of the maple syrup. You can also substitute honey into that. And we're going to use 1 tablespoon of sugar. You can use white sugar or brown sugar, whatever you'd like. The sweetness is just going to balance it out. So moving on to the spices, we're gonna have 2 sticks of cinnamon, 3 star anise, 4 cloves, and then about 5 allspice berries. So this recipe actually tracks back to the 2nd century of Rome. That's when they started using spices in their wine. They did that in order to preserve their wine from going sour because the alcohol content was much lower back then. So what these spices do is fight off the bad bacteria for you. It keeps the good bacteria, fights off the bad. You're just trying to look out for your health. New year, new me. But actually, please drink responsibly. All right, you're gonna want to get the zest equivalent to an orange, if that makes sense. Just look at how much zest I put in there. You can copy that. You can do more or less. It's your wine, so do what you want. I'm gonna start off with the grapefruit. I'm gonna zest all the fruits onto the cutting board and then juice everything into this cup. Now onto the tangerine. It smells so good. And this is a good amount from the tangerine. And lastly, the orange. All right, and this is a good amount of zest for the orange. All right, since the grapefruit is so large, I'm gonna go ahead and cut it in half and just juice it with my hands. But for the other 2 types of citrus fruit, I'm going to use a little squeezer. So this is a good amount of juice from the grapefruit. It's about 1/4 cup. Since this orange is a little bit bigger than my squeezer, I'm just gonna cut it into slices that fit this juicer. Most juicers are a little bit smaller than this, so you may need to cut it down a little bit further. Just whatever fits your kitchen. And now that we've got the orange done, we're gonna move on to the tangerine. These are basically just little cuties from the store. All right, so now that you've got all your citrusy juice and that you've got juice all over your kitchen, you can go and open your bottle of wine. I love all of the scents of the dark, deep fruit and the pepperiness come through just from the nose of the wine. So now you can turn your stove on to about medium high. We're going to cook the spices just until they become aromatic. How will you know they're aromatic? You'll smell them. All right, so we're gonna take 2 sticks of cinnamon, 3 cloves, 3 seeds of cardamom, and you just want to keep your pan in motion just so that the spices don't burn. We're gonna use 4 star anise, and then 5 of our allspice berries. And I'm saying 5, but it can honestly vary. These are pretty small. Oh my god, it smells so good. So I recommend getting familiar with the scents of these spices before putting them on the grill so that you can recognize them as they're cooking up. You want to be able to smell every single one of the spices that you put in here. So right now they've become aromatic. I can smell each one. So what I'm gonna do is keep the stove at the same temperature, but I'm gonna strain in the juice, and that's gonna reduce the temperature of these spices to make sure that they don't burn. And I recommend pouring from the side of the strainer instead of right on top, or you will get burnt from this evaporation like I just did. Send prayers, send love. We're gonna gather up all the zest, put it into our mixture. So now we're gonna add in the maple syrup and the sugar. We've got 2 tablespoons of the maple syrup and 1 tablespoon of the sugar. So I like to pour over the pan, just because if any syrup leaks into there, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Just adds a little bit more sweetness. So we're gonna let that simmer for a little bit, and you're gonna wanna wait until everything has dissolved, all that sugar has dissolved in the syrup. So it doesn't take too long for that sugar to dissolve. It should only be about 1 to 2 minutes on this heat. At this point in the recipe, the only difference between our white wine and our red wine is just which one you decide to use. And for today, we're going to use the red wine. All right, so now that everything has dissolved, all the flavors have mixed together, you're going to go ahead and turn the heat down to a low medium. You really don't want it high, or else you're going to be evaporating all the alcohol, which kind of defeats the purpose. So you're gonna want to keep an eye on this like it's your baby for like the next 10 minutes. I mean, you're really gonna want to watch it like a hawk. You really don't want it to boil because, like I said, that is the alcohol leaving. We want to keep all the alcohol here. The point of the stove is just to heat it up. You're not trying to boil, you're not trying to cook, you're not trying to do any of that. If you want to get scientific about it, the alcohol has a lower boiling point than water. So the bubbles you see, it's not going to be the water in here. It's going to be the alcohol. All right, so I'm starting to see a little bit of discoloration on the top of this wine. So that represents some bubbles, which means that the wine is getting hot enough to start to evaporate. So at this point, I'm going to cut the heat. So I'm going to be adding 1/4 cup of the Grand Marnier Cuvée. And with your heat still cut, you're just going to continue to mix that around. I'd let it sit for 1 to 2 minutes just to let all of those flavors combine. And then it is going to be ready to serve. All right, so now that we've got all of the flavors mixed together, all the alcohols mixed together, we're going to start serving it. A little pro tip is don't pour the wine this way, because I'm gonna end up on your shirt and your pants and your shoes and your mom's shirt, and then Christmas is canceled. So pour it this way, nice and slow. And then I'm going to bring this one over here, and we've got a nice little strainer. So you're going to want to put a strainer over whichever serving vessel that you want to use. And now I'm going to pour it through the strainer. This is an art. All right, and now it's ready to serve. My name is Renee. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching to the end of this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and let us know what else you would like us to make. What do you want to see on here? We love your feedback. So hope y'all have some great holidays and have a great time with your family.